Alright guys, so here's the thing, alright? So if you don't know dog nutters, alright? In a very precise way to say it, it's people who take dogs too far. And they think that the world revolves around dogs. I will tell you that it's nothing wrong with having, like, loving your dog to a point where you cuddle, you let them sleep in your bed. Listen, it's your own dynamic, I don't give a shit. But when there's people who think that dogs are at the same level as human, I mean, I don't know. I think people don't appreciate humanity sometimes well enough. Yes, there's a lot of shit going on. But I mean, preserve your own species, appreciate it when it does something nice, right? But here's the thing, I have nothing wrong, I have a dog myself. Love it. But here's something that is very common to a lot of people, and a lot of people know this shit happens. I hope this camera catches me. I gotta get down. So I came up along with this post here because I love check Reddit. I'm a total piece of shit because who doesn't? And I come across this video. Now, this is a discussion that has been happening for a while now because of fireworks. There's a lot of people who think that just because your dog is scared of something, it should, like, again, the world has to revolve around you and your dog. I love dogs, and fireworks do scare dogs sometimes, but as dogs, as you should know, as a dog owner, you can train them, right? Am I wrong here? So let me just show you this little clip here. I'm gonna have to put these big ass, I need something more practical than this shit. But listen, I have no problem with people loving their dogs and being, you know, worried about them and shit like that. But listen, there's limits to me, and there's things I have to at some point speak out, right? So this argument of the fireworks, you know, scaring dogs, should it be banned because of that and stuff like that, has been going for a while. Now, there's things wrong with this video, but let me just show you the video first. I think as a normal human being, you already seen fireworks everywhere. This person hasn't, apparently. But the title is Fireworks July 17th, so it's not 4th of July. When I saw this first thing, I thought it was 4th of July, so it was kind of obvious for having fireworks or whatever. But at 4 a.m., thanks for scaring my dog. I will grant you that there's two things wrong with this video. But there's nothing that is not what author thinks is wrong. First is that there's fireworks at 4 a.m. Motherfucker, I'm trying to work tomorrow. I don't want fireworks at 4 a.m. Secondly, those seem a little bit too low. Let's replay this a little bit. It doesn't seem a little bit too low. Like, that shit doesn't even clear the fucking balcony. So I don't know who's shooting these fireworks, if you're blind or something. That's not how you shoot fireworks. And again, 4 a.m., those are two things wrong. But let me tell you, as a dog owner myself, that people are not going to stop shooting fireworks and celebrating because your dog is scared. Another thing that I would like to say is that dogs can be trained. And we're going to read some comments. I wouldn't get mad if this person didn't comment, honestly, because this seems like reasonable. Maybe he never seen fireworks in his big town, big city and shit like that, because some cities don't have that. But the fact that, you know, people think that dogs have to be like the defining reason for fireworks to stop, the people stop being happy, is beyond me. Again, these people are morons. I mean, how the fuck are you shooting these fireworks? It reminds me of that video of like, reverse there, reverse. Like, this is too dangerous. But then if you scroll down, and this is kind of thing that ticked me off, yeah, the first comment I have to absolutely agree with. 4 a.m, no offense, but forget your dog and think of the whole building trying to sleep. Yeah, this is what I would say, like, yeah, people can be crappy, but your neighbors, I don't think you have a lot of things, bad things to say about your neighbors, at least on the whole building. I think we would be more worried about the fact that it's 4 a.m. and people are celebrating. That would be an actual issue. In my country, even illegal, right? And a lot of people agree. Thank you, I thought the same, but many dog owners actually think or have more concern for their dogs than people. Many dog owners become dog nutters, and this is where, and there's actually a fucking Reddit sub, that's why I put that in the title, I never use that expression either. But it's people who like they have dogs in too much of a big consideration, right? Your dog is someone who you love. I understand you can love your dog more than a lot of people. True. Right? My dog is way more important to me than some people, but in generality, like a whole society, no, I would be more worried about the fact that this is 4 a.m. and people are trying to sleep. It appalls me to see how dogs have become so more important than people. Of course, dogs deserve love, good treatment, etc., but they do not deserve those things more than people do. I agree. Dogs rule, people drool. Must be the new slogan in America, and again, people can suck. But it's pretty, I think it's very dishonest to say that shit when you have so many commodities with society where people work for each other. Like, it is, yeah, you turn on the news, you see the bad shit, but humanity is good in general. We're living the best years ever. But people becoming less important than dogs, right? So there's a few people, listen, I'm not gonna be mad if people disagree with that shit, okay? This is fine, this comment is fine, animals are safer than people. Well, then there's people who say that animals destroy the whole environment in a neighborhood, so you shouldn't let them go. Like, there's a lot of people who will say the opposite. There's a open discussion, okay? But then here's the, what you gonna call it, man? The grand fucking showmanship of someone who is in defensive mode, and this is defensive, ladies and gentlemen. You're a fucking dork. No. I have never heard people say that shit in 2021, but okay. Of course I care about my neighbors, but it's not like they could exactly hear my dog with literally fucking fireworks outside of everyone's home window. So people in defensive position, they'll be like, oh, you're complaining about the dog barking. No one's complaining about your dog barking. People are complaining most likely about the fact that you think that your dog being scared is worse than people waking up at 4 a.m. So you're right, my small dog barking was definitely the issue. No one, like defensive 9,000 right here. No one is saying that it's the fact that your small dog's barking that is going to wake up people. No one said that. No one is dumb enough to say like, yeah, the fireworks are not the issue. They didn't even say your dog was a problem. I don't know where you get that from, but that's not what they said at all. Again, people, we're not going to go back in the chat. You can rewind the video or this DVR and you still see that, yeah, no, that's not what people are talking about. So he continues to fill the context, and we're not going to read everything else. He just doesn't break that barrier. Okay, so here you are, right? And I wouldn't have an issue with a person if he had an opinion, but this guy is just sending like insults everywhere. Like he doesn't know how to be a social human being, like a person who respects social confrontation, I guess. Maybe comfort your dog instead of filming for internet clout. Me and my dog have a stronger bond than you and your mother, and we cuddle every night. Also, like me and your mother, don't assume a 14-second video. Don't you find this a little bit weird that you just compare like a sexual act with what you do with your dog? Like I know that's not what you mean, but that's very weird. Fucking, don't assume a 14-second video is the entirety of how I treat my pets. No one said that, right? So defensive people, and this is something that I can affirm that this person is a complete dog nutter. What I'm saying is that the video is literally 14 seconds long and fireworks erupting outside of my window is not a common occurrence. I took the video out of astonishment and only decided after to post to Reddit. You're saying that if some crazy shit happens and no one is around, I shouldn't take a few seconds to document it? Well, if you are babysitting, maybe you shouldn't, for example, right? Maybe if you're cooking and you don't want your dinner to be burned, maybe you shouldn't, right? People, something happens that is weird, you don't have to record it, right? Even train wrecks and shit, like, it's good that sometimes people record some shit so people have awareness. What kind of awareness are we gonna have here? Dogs are sensitive to loud noises, though. I will talk about that. And I wanted to pick up that comment, actually. I have a dog, right? And I live in Portugal. And fireworks is kind of a part of our culture. I honestly don't even give a fuck about fireworks. It's one of those things, like, you see it once, twice, it's fun. At some point it starts becoming like the same shit over and over and over. It's just different colors sometimes. But I do understand people want to celebrate their own way. I have a dog, and I will say this as a dog owner, that when he was a puppy, yes, he was very sensitive to that shit. They hear more than us, of course, but he was very scared and shit. But you know what my family as good dog owners did? They didn't record a fucking video. We actually consoled we comforted our dog when loud shit is happening. Right? But don't you wonder how can there be like hunting dogs that can hear shotgun blasts like really next to their ears and they still don't freak out? It's because dogs can be trained to react certain ways to what they hear. Right? First and foremost, this thing is not happening all the time. Secondly, the world, you cannot, I guess, control the world to a point where you want to protect what you think is important, which is your dog. Which it is important, but I'm not saying that is the most important thing of them all. When you have people doing some bad shit in the street, is your job as a parent to be like, hey, don't be like that. Those people will exist, those bad behaviors will exist, or other things will exist that you don't like. But now my dog, for example, he's grown up, and my dog actually chases the fucking fireworks. People, this dog thinks that he can actually, like, if he could fly, he would head straight to the firework and bite it. My dog is either stupid like that or brave like that, right? Maybe both. Because he was trained from very early on when he was a puppy to understand that fireworks is absolutely fine. Or if he feels like at this point my dog thinks he's a threat to them, right? He wants to bite him. He is that assertive about, because he was trained from early on to not be that sensitive. So that's what I wanted to say. I'm not saying this as a person who doesn't have dogs or doesn't understand them. We trained our dog from early on to understand that, oh, there's going to be fireworks, there's going to be loud shit out there, but you don't need to be like very... Like, he will still bark, he's still a dog. He will chase the fireworks, he will chase people who... Sometimes noises that we don't hear, but he does, right? and he thinks we're being robbed or some shit like that, that's fine. That's a dog doing what he's doing. But he was trained from early on to not feel scared of everything that happens, right? But yeah, that was also an important one, which is like, okay, there you go. So how about you train your dog though? Instead of subjecting it to suffering 2-3 times a year for the rest of his life, you'll just blame others for something that can be fixed. Thank you. This is one of those situations, people, where you have to assume like, okay, I can fix this. I cannot stay here and sit my ass and think that the world is going to change to my expectations, right? You got to do something about it, and you can do something about it. Train your dog. But to this person, lack of awareness, right? Limo, train him to do what? Pretty sure I'm not the only pet owner who has to deal with fireworks. You're not the only pet owner who doesn't know how to train his dog. You're absolutely correct. But you're also not the one who not the only one who has to deal with it. But there's the percentage of dog owners who go like, oh, you know what? How about I train my dog to not suffer? Versus the ones that are like you that pick up a phone instead of training your dog to not be scared of that shit. It's completely normal. Be with him at all times. And like if dogs can survive. Am I wrong, people? I've read this somewhere. Could be a lie, but that's not what you feel. That dogs can feel like if you're scared, they will attack you. Like random ones, triggered ones, I think. But if they feel like you're confident, they will pick up that vibe. So I would assume that they know how to understand like, oh, this human is kind of calm. Oh, I'm gonna be calm too. Instead of you taking a big deal and start recording and shit and taking interest in it, the dog will also take interest in it. Just stop then. And I guess it's like the guy at least has some sort of like redemption. Well, thank you for your kind and positive feedback. I'll get right on that. Although I I didn't really anticipate fireworks. Okay, that's a fair point. Okay, you didn't anticipate fireworks, but that's something that you need to teach before it happens.